Everyone thinks Sister Sage betrayed Godolkin because she suddenly grew a conscience. She didn't. She did it because she's the smartest person in any room. And that night, the math changed. She didn't choose mercy. She chose control. And if you think that sounds cold, wait until you see what she was really protecting. I'll be honest. The first time I saw her leave that cell door open, I literally said out loud, "Wait, what game are you playing, Sage?" Because this wasn't a spur of the moment betrayal. It was a surgical strike. Every expression, every hesitation, even the silence, felt calculated. That's when it hit me. Sage didn't betray a man. She audited him. Was this betrayal? Was this survival? Or was this the moment the world's smartest villain realized the only way to save her plan was to kill her partner? And here's the part nobody's talking about. She didn't do it because she hated Godolkin. She did it because she needed him gone. Why? Because for the first time, her experiment, her entire phase 2, was spiraling out of control. Forbidden secret tease whisper tone pacing. There's a secret buried in that Gen V finale, a moment even Homelander doesn't know happened. And once you catch it, once you really see it, you'll realize Sage didn't save the world. She just postponed its destruction. Yeah, let that sit for a second. The fandom's split right now. Half of us think Sage is a genius, the ultimate chess player who's 5 steps ahead of everyone, even Homelander. The other half thinks she's a manipulative monster who'll burn the world just to prove she can rebuild it. But both sides are missing one thing. She didn't betray Godolkin out of emotion. She betrayed him out of logic. Because for her, betrayal is just another equation. Trapersonal humor vs. relatability moment. And look, I'll admit it. I had to pause the episode twice just to breathe. My brain felt like it got hit with compound V and a philosophy exam at the same time. Like, Sage's brain works on a level where even Einstein would say, "You know what? I'm gonna sit this one out." So here's my theory. And it's not a fan theory. It's a behavioral breakdown. If you rewatch that episode frame by frame, every single move Sage makes lines up with one principle she's lived by since The Boys Season 40: control the narrative. Never the battlefield. That's her real superpower. Not strength. Not genius. Control. If you love diving into hidden motives like this, if you like the kind of breakdowns that dig past the surface, hit subscribe right now. Because what Sister Sage does next might rewrite everything you think you know about the Boys universe. Trust me, you'll want to be here when that happens. Because what if I told you Sage's betrayal wasn't just about Godolkin? What if it was about Homelander too? About keeping him calm, controlled, and ignorant? Because one wrong headline, one unexpected rival, and the man literally nukes the planet with his ego. And Sage, of all people, knew that better than anyone. So when Godolkin stepped out of the shadows, calling himself a god and declaring war on weakness, she didn't see ambition. She saw a detonation countdown. Why did she really do it? Why let polarity out at the exact second she did? And what's the real endgame of Sister Sage's Phase 2 plan? We're gonna pull it apart piece by piece. From her first lie in The Boys Season 4 to the moment she made the coldest calculation in Gen V's finale. And by the end of this video, you'll understand something terrifying. Sister Sage didn't save the heroes. She saved the timeline. You ever notice how Sister Sage never raises her voice? Not once. Even when everything collapses, when blood's literally dripping from the ceiling, when students are tearing each other apart like meat puppets, she just watches. That's not apathy. That's control. And that's exactly why her betrayal wasn't emotional. It was mathematical. Because for Sage, every choice comes down to a single variable. Will this action preserve the experiment or destroy it? And that night, Thomas Godolkin, the man she believed was her intellectual equal, became the one flaw she couldn't calculate around. Think about this. For decades, she's been designing a system. Phase 1, install Homelander as the weaponized face of public control. Phase 2, stabilize chaos through strategic manipulation, cultural, political, emotional. And then suddenly, in the middle of her simulation, someone hits the reset button. That someone is Godolkin. He's not just a scientist gone mad. He's the original architect of Vought's God complex. The man who literally played God before there was Homelander. But here's the fatal difference. Sage believes in order through control. Godolkin believes in order through cleansing. One wants to shape the world quietly. The other wants to burn it loud. You can't share a lab table with that. When Sage realized what Thomas had become, a living virus in her system, she didn't panic. She didn't argue. She recalculated. You could almost see it in her eyes, that split-second freeze, the same look a chess grandmaster gets before they sacrifice their queen to win the game 10 moves later. To everyone else, that looked like hesitation. To her, it was optimization. Let's pause here, because I want you to really understand how deep this betrayal runs. This isn't a soap opera, I can't believe you lied to me moment. It's the intellectual version of murdering your own hypothesis. Sage didn't turn on Thomas because he was wrong. She turned on him because he was unpredictable. And unpredictability is the one thing she can't build around. Now, here's where it gets wild. Most fans think Sage exposed Godolkin because she wanted to stop the massacre. But rewatch that episode closely. Look at when she leaves the door open. Not during the chaos. Not after the first kill. She waits. She times it perfectly. Right before Mary regains control. Right when Polarity's powers could actually matter. That's not mercy. That's engineering. She didn't save lives. She synchronized outcomes. And this is where it gets dark. Because Sister Sage isn't just playing chess anymore. She's writing the rules of the game, while everyone else is busy bleeding. She knew letting Godolkin leave meant exposure. Exposure to Homelander, to Vought, to every institution that would start asking questions she wasn't ready to answer. She knew Homelander's paranoia doesn't tolerate rivals. And above all, she knew one new God on the board means her entire model collapses. So what does she do? She makes a decision colder than Compound V itself. She lets Polarity out, knowing he's the only living variable who can scramble Godolkin's telepathic control. Not to save the kids, not even to save herself, but to remove a broken piece from her equation. Let's run that back in human terms. Imagine you've spent years coding the perfect simulation, every input, every probability, controlled down to the decimal. Then your partner barges in, rewrites your core code mid-run, and starts deleting files while yelling about godhood. Do you beg them to stop? Or do you pull the plug before your entire system fries? Sage pulled the plug. And if you think that's heartless, here's the twist. It wasn't just logic. Because there's a scene most people miss. When Sage sits beside Thomas as he rants about creating the next evolution of Supes, there's this flicker, barely half a second, where she looks sad. Not angry. Not afraid. Sad. Because for one moment, she really believed he might have been her equal. And that's what hurts the most. She didn't just lose a partner in crime. She lost the one person who spoke her language of control, order, and vision. So when she betrays him, it's not just cold calculus. It's a eulogy for the only person who almost understood her. But before we go deeper, let's play a quick what if, because I want to hear your thoughts in the comments after this. What if Sage hadn't betrayed Godolkin? What if she let him keep going? Would Homelander have killed him the second he found out there was another God in town? Would Vought have buried the entire campus under concrete and called it an incident? Or would Sage herself have been executed for treason against her own plan? Drop your answer below. I'll pin the sharpest theory. Alright, let's keep going, because here's where the forbidden knowledge starts bleeding through the cracks. You ready? When Sage first appeared in The Boys, she wasn't introduced as a manipulator. She was introduced as a mirror. Homelander is power without intelligence. Sage is intelligence without empathy. They're opposite ends of the same apocalypse. But when she saw Godolkin, she saw something different, a reflection of herself, with ambition unchained. That's why their connection was magnetic, and why the betrayal had to be surgical. Because if he survived, her experiment didn't. If he died, the system lived. You tell me, what would you choose? And here's where we hit the real moral fracture. For all her intelligence, for all her brilliance, Sage still made the one mistake every villain makes. She believed she could predict human emotion. She thought Polarity's pain could be weaponized. She thought Marie's grief could be managed. But emotion, real raw human emotion, doesn't play by equations. That's the weakness that'll haunt her next season. Because sooner or later, she's going to meet someone she can't calculate. And that's when her empire of logic starts to crack. If you're still watching right now, first off, you're one of the smart ones. Second, hit that like button so YouTube knows this breakdown deserves to spread. And third, buckle up. Because in the next segment, we're going inside Sage's Phase 2 plan, the real one. The one she's been hiding not just from Homelander, but from us. This isn't just about betrayal. It's about the blueprint of manipulation that's been running under The Boys since Season 1. And once you see it, you'll realize Sister Sage isn't just another villain. She's the author of the apocalypse. Let's talk about Phase 2, the plan nobody's supposed to know exists. The one Sage never told Homelander, never told Vought, Maybe never even told herself out loud. You think this was about power? It wasn't. It was about proving a theorem. That intelligence, pure, unfiltered, surgical intelligence, could rewrite destiny itself. And if you think that sounds insane, remember, this is the woman who convinced the world's most violent narcissist he was a national hero by accidentally saving people. That's not manipulation. That's divine programming. Here's what people miss. When The Boys Season 4 ended, everyone saw chaos. Homelander dripping blood from his hands, fans chanting his name, Starlight fleeing, Butcher decaying. But Sage saw order. She saw a pattern she could control. To her, the outrage, the protests, the hero worship, all of it was just data. Anger is energy. Fear is leverage. Belief is currency. And Sage was the one holding the mint. Phase 1 built the machine. Phase 2 decides who programs it. She doesn't want to destroy Homelander. Not yet. She wants to condition him, to transform his chaos into obedience. She studies his psychopathy like a scientist studies radiation. Dangerous, yes, but usable in the right container. That container is the public. Sage knows the only way to cage a god is to make the crowd his leash. Feed them just enough fear and faith, and they'll do the rest. So when Godolkin steps into the spotlight screaming about evolution, Sage's algorithm fractures. His massacre doesn't just spill blood, it spills information. Suddenly the public sees what the compound really does. Suddenly the illusion of controlled supremacy turns into open terrorism. And for a woman whose whole plan depends on narrative discipline, that's a nuclear detonation. Now let's get conspiratorial for a second. Because this is where the forbidden knowledge starts bubbling up. What if Sage's real goal wasn't to serve Vought, but to replace it? What if Phase 2 wasn't about controlling Homelander, but about creating the infrastructure to control whoever comes after him? Think about it. Every movement needs a myth. Every myth needs a martyr. Homelander dies, the world mourns, and who steps in to rebuild the system? Sister Sage, with the perfect replacement ready. A machine so efficient, so adaptive, it doesn't even need gods anymore. That's not rebellion. That's evolution. Here's the crazy part, and I want you to think about this while you're watching. What if the real reason Sage betrayed Godolkin wasn't that he broke her plan, but that he almost exposed it? When he ranted about cleansing the weak, he wasn't wrong about one thing. There was a hidden hierarchy inside the project, a filtration system buried deep in Vought's early research. The same files Sage pulled when she first arrived at headquarters, the same data she used to build her influence chart, mapping every super's loyalty, risk level, and public utility score. Godolkin knew about it because he started it. Sage knew about it because she perfected it. And that's the secret she couldn't let him reveal.